Hey guys, what's going on? So I got off work early today and I figured it was a beautiful day. We only have a week left of lobster season, so I told my mom and dad, let's go out, let's see what we can do. And here's a little sneak peek. Monster lobster! So first rock of the trip, my dad is on the other side of the rock tickling out a lobster, and it comes out, but I don't get a chance to net it and it goes back under the rock. So I swim back up to the surface, and by the time I make it up to the surface and look down, I notice the lobster has made it back outside the rock. So I swim down and I was able to net him this time. Unfortunately though, he was too small. I measured him and he was short, so I had to let him go. Now this same rock had another lobster in it, and my dad stuck his arm all the way in, all the way up to his shoulder, and he was able to wrestle out this giant lobster. Look at that thing, it is so big.
Good job, Dan. Yeah, you want to get that.
A couple weeks ago, the east coast of Florida had a giant swell and it was really rough. And sometimes when this happens, some of our lobstering rocks get filled in with sand. And this next spot, if you guys have been watching my videos, you might actually recognize this rock. This is one of our favorite spots, and it actually was filled in pretty good with sand. So you can get a little bit of a better idea of what I'm talking about. Here's some footage of what it looked like back in December, and then you can see the difference of what it looked like in December compared to now. So that was December, and then this is now at the end of March. And as you can see, there's a lot more sand and no lobsters home. It's definitely interesting to see how these environments change throughout the year. Now this white spot on the ocean floor is a fossilized sea biscuit. Sea biscuits are actually a species of sea urchin. This is a beautiful little red grouper. They have to be 20 inches to keep. This guy was closer to like 10, so he's got some growing to do. It's freezing. Oh my gosh. I've gone diving before and said it was cold, but that was freezing. Dad, did you think it was cold?
It was a little cold, but it was fun. You know, we snuck out here and had a little fun Friday, took off work early, and boom, my first dive down, got a lobster. He was short. And then I poked that big one out to Brook, and it snuck into another rock where I reached in and grabbed his knuckle and got him out. So we got one nice lobster. You know, can't stay in the water too long this time of year, but got in, caught two, had fun.
We're doing a little trolling back into the inlet on the way home, and we just hooked up to something small. Oh, I think it's a little bonita. Dad, what? You want to keep him?
No.
No? Alright, we wanted something to eat. These aren't the best eating things, so we're gonna let them go. Our mission was to catch a fish that we could eat with our lobster, and there we go, a little Spanish mac. It's really small, but he'll be good. This lobster is giant. So we ended up catching 3, but 2 of them were too small to keep, but this one is giant. All right, now normally the way I clean a lobster is I just ring it, but since it's the only one that we have, I'm gonna take my knife and I'm gonna go around the head and get every little bit of meat that's in there. Just go around the whole entire head. And it should just pull right out. Get rid of this gunk. People say you get a lot more meat when you use the knife and go around, but normally we don't do it. And honestly, if you look in there after you do ring a lobster, you don't miss that much meat. But since this is the only one, I did it with the knife. And then what I'm gonna do is break off the antenna right here. And I'm going to stick it in this hole to remove, the digestive tract out of there. There we go. Just get rid of that. And there's my clean lobster that fast. And then I normally just break the legs apart and throw them in the water just so all the fish can eat. All right, and now I'm gonna fillet my mackerel, which Bubba Blade just sent me some new knives to try out, so that's what I'm gonna use. And there we go. I'd say pretty perfect. No meat left on there. This knife is super sharp. It worked really good. I really liked it. And now I'm just gonna take the skin off of these fillets. Mackerels have super thin skin, and they have really small scales. So they're actually kind of hard to skin. Ta-da! Almost this whole entire line is in bones, so I'm gonna get those out. And there we go, made quick work of that fish with that new knife. I actually really liked it. And always pop the eyes when you throw your fish in, or else they're gonna float. Time to go into the kitchen. All right, so since that one lobster and that one mackerel isn't gonna be enough food for my dad, my mom, and myself, we went in the freezer, we grabbed out another lobster that we had from last weekend. My parents went out. And then we have a whiting that I caught last weekend that was in the freezer. We got these pans, which are my absolute go-to pan to cook on the grill. This is the whiting, the mackerel, and then that lobster. And this is the lobster out of the freezer that we took out of the shell. So now I'm gonna season these up.
Here's to the good life. Quit work early, go out and catch a lobster, have a lobster dinner with some fish. It's like being in heaven.
Cheers. Cheers. First thing, I'm gonna lay on some nice sliced tomatoes. Gonna do some salt and pepper. And I started out with some olive oil in the bottom of the pan before I put the fish and the lobster in. Some onion powder. Garlic powder. Some breadcrumbs. I prefer Italian, but I only have plain. Just a light little bit of this. A light sprinkle of Parmesan cheese. A little paprika. Now with these pans, you need some liquid in there, because if you don't, they're gonna burn up and dry up real fast. So we normally use a white wine in there. It seems like a lot of wine, but when you cook it, all that wine cooks out and you don't have that strong leftover wine flavor. And to finish it off, some fresh lemon juice. All right, I lied. I forgot butter. Just gonna put some butter slices on the lobster and on the fish. Okay, now we're ready for the grill. All right, so this is how we're looking. They've been on for less than 10 minutes and they look amazing already. They smell so good, guys. I can't wait to eat them. Now the cool thing about these pans is they come with their own individual little hot plate pan. And they come with little sleeves to go on the pans. You can actually grab them off the grill. Still cooking and he's about to take a bite.
You gotta take it off the grill before it's done because it keeps cooking in your house.
You're gonna burn your mouth so bad. So just an hour ago, we were still out on the boat. We came home, cleaned the fish, cleaned the lobster, and now we're about to enjoy this great dinner. You can't beat it.